Welcome back to Live with Lori. Today, Lori's making chicken spinners and asked the representative for his spin on Florida's defined benefit plan.
Hi, welcome back. We're here with Representative Ritch Workman, and we have finished rolling our chicken. We've got our onion sauteing, and before we put the chicken in the oven, we're going to put a little bit of olive oil on these, and just a little bit of balsamic vinegar. You want to put some balsamic vinegar on there?
Sure, just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
A dabble,
just
if you will.
Just a dribble.
A dribble.
A dribble. I promised everybody you were going to talk about the Florida
Space Caucus, yes.
Florida Space Caucus. What is that?
Well, a caucus is formed in government when like-minded representatives or senators get together and they form a caucus to meet some mutual goal. And when I got elected originally in 2008, I realized that space, obviously very important to me being from the Space Coast, was not on the agenda of the other 112 representatives that don't live here. They didn't seem to care. They all spoke highly of space, but it wasn't on the forefront. So I formed the Space Caucus, and what I did to get so many members, and well over half the representatives, is I showed them how much money the government spends in their district on space.
Right. Now, were you one of the founding members of the Space?
I founded it.
Oh, you are the founder.
I created it. And
that was all you.
It's all me. But I had a lot of help,
right.
And the original partners all came on, and we've done great things as a Space Caucus. And primarily what it did was it showed the other 119 members that space is important to everybody.
You grew it to the largest caucus in the legislature.
Yeah, and it's paid a lot of dividends. Senator Herodopoulos, as the president of the Senate, was able to get a lot of good things done because it was such broad-based support for the Space Caucus. Democrats, Republicans, didn't matter, were members.
That's good. Everybody likes to see the Republicans and the Democrats working together.
And we did. The Space Caucus
I know you at home agree.
Well, yeah, certainly. And the Space Caucus is one of those examples that cross party lines for sure.
Right. Okay, we're going to set the chicken in at 350, and you're going to bake it about 35 to 40 minutes. It's not going to take a whole lot because, we have pounded it pretty thin.
We did pound our chickens very, very well.
Yes, okay. We're going to get started on the rolled asparagus.
Okay.
This is pancetta. Do you know what pancetta is?
It's this.
Yes, very good.
Thanks.
It's Italian bacon. And,
I love bacon.
And yeah, my son will eat this. We're just going to roll these up and put them on a cookie sheet because then we're going to broil them. And what happens is that comes up really nice and crispy. The asparagus gets just a little bit crunchy, and it's a perfect side dish. While we're doing this, I'd like to talk about pension reform because I know that's something that you did.
Yes.
And for those of you at home, the bill saves $1.1 billion with a B dollars a year to Florida, which is just astonishing. So, could you tell people about that? Because, some people aren't familiar with what that is.
You bet. Florida still has a defined benefit plan, and for those that don't know what that means, a defined benefit plan is the old kind of pension plans that were very popular where you work for so long and then once you retire, you get at least a portion of your salary for the rest of your life until you pass. Florida still offers that to its state employees, and the problem with that kind of plan is eventually it will go broke because you'll have more people on the defined benefit plan.
Kind of like Social Security?
Well, and that is a defined benefit plan. So at the end of the day, you end up having more people on the plan than paying into it. And Florida, although our FRS is extremely solvent, we face that looming problem. I got a lot of flack by reforming it. I would be told that we're 90% solvent. They're right, we are 90% solvent, but 10% is $16 billion in the hole. So yeah, we're solvent, but we're on the edge. So anyway, what my bill did is it did a few things. It required state employees to work a little bit longer. It took them from 60 years of service to 65 years of service. I took our police and fire from 55 years of service to 60 years of service. Of age.
I was going to say, yeah.
That's a long time to work.
Yeah. I was going to say 65 years working in the same job. That's a little excessive.
That would have been hard to do. That would have been hard to pass. It would have saved us pension money though, but it would have probably been a bit cruel. State employees have to work 35 years. Police and fire and our special risk have to work 30 years before they're eligible for their full benefit.
Right.
But they still vest after 8 years. It was 6. I pushed it back to 8. Those little changes that we did allowed for $1.1 billion to be saved.
Those don't seem extreme.
The one that was extreme, and I somehow failed to mention it, it was the one that got me the most flack, was that Since 1976, state employees have not had to pay 1 penny into their pension plan. My bill and now law require them to pay 3% into their pension plan. And that was the biggest part of the savings in the state, is that now instead of the state forking the entire bill for the defined benefit and the defined contribution, the state employees are asked to put in 3%.
Why did you get flack over that? If you were in a private corporation, you would have to pay into your retirement.
Yeah.
With most people, they do matching funds or
Right.
that sort of thing.
It's a fair question, but there's also a fair answer, and I can see it from their perspective. If you were working in the state system for 15 years, all of a sudden you went from not having to pay anything to having to pay 3,
Right.
you get a little ticked off about that. I get that. I don't think that it was unfair.
No, I don't think it's unfair. I mean, I can get where somebody might be upset about that.
Sure.
So far, we've got the chicken in. We're going to broil the asparagus when we get back. We're going to sear the polenta, and we're going to find out why St. Pete Times said that Ritch had the zeal for repeal. So stay tuned.
Coming up next, Lori asks Representative Workman about his zeal for repeal.